Steel Toes and Scoreboards podcast. Word association, Dirty Curdy. First thing that comes to mind.
He changed the league, am I wrong?
God, I hate Tom Brady. He's talented, but yeah.
You just won't call him the GOAT, will you?
We should have called ourselves the hashtag Tits Podcast. 1,000 downloads a day, guaranteed.
Two idiots talking sports. I love it, bro.
Is he the best running back you've ever seen?
If he's not, then who is? Who do you put at number one, bro?
There will be a Detroit Pistons Bad Boys episode one day.
Man, you love that 2-year run, don't you?
No, I do. You can get a hot bat anywhere. You build around your pitching, or at least I do if I'm in charge.
Pitching and defense wins your World Series, hands down.
I came out of the closet as a Lakers fan.
Whoa, bro. Scared me there for a second.
Oh, sure bet. Sure bet. There will be an increase of boxing talk on this show. I love boxing.
I'm down for that anytime.
Our few non-sports episodes have been pretty well received.
We do a good thing by running a two-fold podcast.
Please put Pete Rose in the damn Hall of Fame.
Charlie Hustle, the all-time hits leader. It's political bullshit, and if he ever sees the Hall of Fame, it'll be after he's no longer with us.
I miss the NBA I grew up on in the 90s and the early 2000s.
The game isn't the same, but these kids can play.
We're starting to talk more hockey, and that's never a bad thing.
Puck the world, puck it all.
Puck the world, Kurt says. I promise you, I can work a pro wrestling reference into every episode. Want to see me do it?
Weird flex, but okay.
I can't believe, seriously, in all seriousness, I can't believe we've been doing this show a year now.
I can't believe people still listen after a year, you know. You have the perfect face for radio.
Oh, cut me deep, son. Cut me deep. He exploded a bird with a fastball. I seen it happen.
Randy Johnson, the big unit.
The big unit. So, I got a little soccer news for you.
No, let me stop you right there. That's a no for me. We don't talk soccer on this show.
All right, fair enough. Let me ask you, though. Does Kobe win 3 in a row without Shaq on the Lakers?
What do you think?
Well, that's pretty tough. All right, well, look at it this way. He's a future Hall of Fame quarterback.
Without question. And he's still so young. Lots of knowledge left in that kid.
All right, guys, enjoy the next episode of Steel Toes and Scoreboards coming to you now. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Steel Toes and Scoreboards. Jared Atkins alongside his homie, Kurt Kelly.
What up?
What up? How's work?
Not too bad.
I drove past there today.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. Should have
stopped in and said hey.
Should have stopped in and said hey, right?
Yeah.
So, got some sports stuff to talk about, and we got some podcast business to talk about. We got some good news.
What I'm interested in.
What was the word of the day I said? Salacious?
Salacious. Yes.
We got some salacious Steelers news for you.
Yes.
That's the word of the day, salacious.
Salacious.
Right on. We got some podcast news.
Yes.
First, so did I tell you what happened today? Did I text you and tell you this? I didn't.
I don't think so.
Okay, so I'm looking at our statistics.
Yeah.
And we launched in May of last year.
What are we batting?
Well, we launched May 2021. We had 49 downloads.
Okay.
June of 2021, the next month, we had 107 downloads, which equates to that new car smell, where it's a new podcast, everybody checks it out.
Right.
And since then, if I look at the pie graph, we're literally a roller coaster. We have up months, down months. Coming off last month, June last month, we had 34 downloads, our worst statistical month ever, but we only put out 1 or 2 episodes, so we were really busy last month.
Right.
And then looking at July, and we still have, 4 days left, So far in the month of July, we've hit 143 downloads, so we've crushed our all-time record.
Sweet.
And then if I go and look at the month of July starting, and hold on to your panties, Gertrude. So Thursday of last week, we had 24 downloads.
I'm not wearing any.
You're damn it, I always hit the wrong one. Sunday we had 24 downloads. Monday we had 20 downloads. And yet today, the 27th of July, we had 35 downloads.
Cool.
We're up 393% from 3 months ago.
Somebody's paying attention.
Somebody has come through and told some people, and we've had a massive catalog download or something. But, yeah, we've just crushed our we're doing pretty good.
Yeah,
we're at the point now where we could start getting ads put in on the podcast from Podbean, which will equal monetization for me and you, which basically equals me and you splitting money that we get paid for the podcast. So it won't be a super amount of money, but we're to the point now where they're going to start looking at us and placing ads in on our podcast, which will pay us some money every month. So we've busted our ass. I've done a lot on the business side.
Yes, for sure.
So we've got there, and we are finally on Apple Podcast, iTunes. We finally got launched on there today after a year and a half, which is probably the biggest channel we need to be on besides Spotify. So that's going to put our content out there with a whole lot more people. So we got good news all around. So, I mean, it's taken some time. We've busted our ass with it, but here we are.
Well, I mean, it's something we in the beginning we said, well, if we could just get to this point.
I said I'd be happy with that. Yeah. I'm not saying we're going to keep up with 100 downloads a month, but if you look at last year's numbers, like I said, we launched in May and last year compared to this month. We've only had 2 months with 100 downloads. We average no more usually than 75, no less than 34, because that's our lowest. But if we could still hit 75 a month, and then now with this increased, I believe this catalog download, this massive download over the last week or two, has got to be somebody coming through, checking out the catalog, telling somebody else about it because they like hearing two idiots talk.
Right.
So if we can keep that up, we'll get some money out of the podcast. That'll be something cool for once.
That would be cool. Yeah.
But all right, let's enough business. You want to do another meat and taters?
Yeah, let's get into the meat and taters.
You like callbacks to things we've talked about in previous episodes, right?
Right.
You remember us talking about Nate Diaz has been complaining and running his mouth that he wants a UFC fight, and Dana White's not giving him one because he's not showing anything.
Right.
Nate Diaz is going to step into the Octagon again.
All right.
They're trying to set a fight for September against God, I can never pronounce his last name. Kaimaviv. It's he's the bearded everybody, because I haven't watched the UFC.
What is his name? Khabib?
No, it's not Khabib. It's Khabib's friend. It's the other guy.
Okay. I can't.
Khamzat Kaimaviv. I can never pronounce it, but I haven't watched a single UFC bout this year, so I've not really been a good UFC fan in 2022. But this guy's, I don't think it's anybody you want to step in the octagon with, and Diaz has been running that mouth pretty good, and Dana White's finally had enough of it. So
there you go, buddy.
He
always has run his mouth.
Yeah, this should be a welterweight division fight, so they should be fighting at 170 pounds, I think.
You know what everybody's wanting to see, though, right?
What's that?
Patty the Batty.
Oh, Patty. You know, I almost put Patty News in there, but I didn't. I should have.
They're wanting him to fight McGregor.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are they? I don't know. Are they going to fight?
Have you watched any Patty? Do you watch any of his fights?
I've seen clips on YouTube of Patty.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's what. He's pretty good.
This fight, they're tentatively looking to schedule this fight for September. Contracts have not been signed yet. Dana White held a press conference earlier today. We'll see what happens. But
So he finally had enough of Nate, huh?
yeah, Diaz's opponent said in a press conference earlier this week he's going to handle Diaz's funeral for the UFC. So,
Hey, yeah.
I love smack talk.
Oh, I do too.
What's the one thing that gets me super excited when we do the podcast, when we talk about boxing, right?
Yeah.
What's the one thing that gets me super excited about boxing? Women's boxing, right?
Yes.
Got some huge women boxing news.
Okay.
So, Ramallah Ali, no relation to Muhammad,
Right.
but she's going to be stepping into the ring next month, making history. She's going to take on Crystal Garcia Nova. And the reason this is big is because it's going on the undercard of Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk, which I've told you is like the third, fourth biggest fight of the year. It's probably the third biggest fight of the year.
Very well.
And the reason this is even more funny is we talk about that Saudi blood money. It's going down at the Kingdom of Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. And they're typically, that country is pretty conservative with their women. WWE, shout out me, I always get a pro wrestling reference in on every episode, right?
Right.
WWE went and had their Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in February over in Saudi Arabia. I watched it here with the kids. And the rules in that country is so strict that the female talent who usually, bare their stomachs and their arms, they had to be completely wrapped up in long sleeve and long pant like bodysuits. So I'm wondering how the ladies in the ring, if they're going to be in bodysuits boxing as well.
I don't know.
But it's just kind of funny to me. That's going to be on the undercard of the Usyk Joshua fight, which is something I will do more in depth of as we get closer to August 20th, or I might do a recap on it.
Right.
But it's just important because Ali started the Somali Boxing Federation, and she became the first Muslim to win a national championship in Britain, and the first Somali woman to fight at the Amateur World Championships and represent Somalia in boxing at the Olympics. So it's pretty big news. It's history-making, and we always like history-making stuff.
It sounds like boxing in the whole is trying to make a comeback.
I know, like we have covered so much boxing information, and we've got some feedback about that too. I'm starting, with these increased downloads and increased traffic across social media, we're starting to get people that are actually feeding into the podcast and giving feedback. And one of the things we're getting is they like when I when I do the mini shoots by myself or when you're with me, they want more boxing content.
They want more boxing. Okay.
So we're gonna have to do just a solo boxing episode coming up.
Right. All right.
But I'm gonna go ahead and skip to the salacious news.
Yes.
So I texted Kurt this evening earlier. I said, "Got some Steelers news for you." And what did you say to me?
I said, "Yeah, they got a running back."
And I said, "Nope, it's better than that." I said, "It's salacious."
Salacious. Yes.
That's our word of the day that we give on every episode.
Yes. Salacious.
So,
Right. Lay it on me.
So this is your franchise. This is your baby.
Yeah.
Cameron Hayward
Yeah.
took a cheap shot. He's a little bit pissed off at your retired future Hall of Fame quarterback.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
So here we go. Let's roll with it.
Yeah.
So Roethlisberger, I guess, did a recent interview that was published Friday in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, talking about a lot of the current players in the league have a me-type first attitude. Cameron Hayward came out and said Roethlisberger's comments kind of rubbed him the wrong way. Said people have changed, the game has changed. Roethlisberger would say that the team, quote, "the team was so important. It was all about the team. Now it's all about me, this, that, and the other. I might be standing on a soapbox, but that's my biggest takeaway when I started to the end. It turned from a team first to a me type attitude, and that's hard. It's hard for these young guys too. Social media He said they're treated so well in college. Now with all this new stuff, they're treated so special. They're coddled from a young age because college coaches never coach them the correct way, I guess, which basically means it ain't no old school boot in the ass type thing.
Right.
So Hayward's a little upset.
I don't know where that would rub him wrong, though. I mean,
well,
I guess
so
Hayward's from old school too, isn't he?
yeah. Hayward was teamed with Roethlisberger from 2011 to last season. Hayward's got a podcast.
Okay.
So on a recent episode of the Not Just Football with Cam Hayward podcast, he let it be known Roethlisberger's comments upset him a little bit. He said it looks as though we've looked at as selfish players, and I don't think that's the point. We have a lot of young players that come from different backgrounds, have experienced different things from what others or I may have experienced. That doesn't make them selfish or a me-type attitude. There are a lot more team-first guys than me-type attitude. I took serious offense to that. Well, and Hayward's the team captain this year.
Right.
And he's part of that. I mean, he might be 33, but, I mean, he's, guys like him, Tyson Alahu, Brett Kiesel, these are all, like positive impact on the locker room type guys.
Right.
Hayward he just would go on and talk about it. He's not very happy with that. He's let it be known.
What's your take on it?
On Roethlisberger's comments?
Yeah.
I mean, I know some of the guys on the team are going to take offense to what he said, but he's kind of right. I mean, it's 2022. Everything's gone politically correct. Everything's cancel culture now. Everybody's got to be coddled. There's participation trophies. There's
but yeah.
We live in we now live. I mean, I know what it's like for me being born in '87, growing up in the '90s. I can't imagine what it's like for you and Pops. You guys born in the late '60s, early '70s, and the changes you guys seen. But we live in an overly sensitive, dominated society right now, and
yes.
I mean, that's just me. I don't think
everybody's walking on eggshells.
Yeah, pretty much. And I don't think Ben said anything out of line. He's just telling the truth. The game has went a little softer. Did you see any training camp photos or anything? Since we are in training camp now. Training camp started this week.
Right. I haven't seen anything yet. No.
So you haven't seen the pads, and I don't mean shoulder pads. You haven't seen the pads on the helmets for training camp.
Yes. I have seen a clip of that. Yeah.
CTE. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Concussion syndrome and everything. That's serious stuff. But when I see a game that I've never seen guys wear pads on their helmets before, now they're wearing these great big rubber foam pads over their helmets for practice. It literally looks like a clown wig.
Yeah,
like a foam crown wig.
Yeah, when I seen a little bit I've seen it, I was laughing. I was like, what is that?
I mean, I get it. The game's got to be taken safer. We look back to what happened with Junior Seau several years ago. I mean, he had such bad CTE, we didn't know it at the time. When he committed suicide, he shot his chest, and his suicide note said that he did that just so they could examine the trauma on his brain from football. I get it.
That's pretty deep there. Yeah.
But yeah, I love Junior Seau too.
But at the same time, it's a contact sport. I mean, these guys know what they're getting into.
We're a couple injuries away from flag football being played professionally.
Yeah, I agree.
That's wait. Hot take.
Yeah, hot take, definitely.
Okay.
Well, I get it though. I get it too, but at the same time, it's a full contact sport, the gladiator sport.
I mean, and it's changed so much. The game's moving faster now. These guys, I hate to say it, these younger talent, ever since I was in high school and ever since I graduated in 2006, every year the talent gets more. These guys are far better athletes than the guys that played in the 70s and the 80s.
They're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger. I mean,
But
just pretty.
I mean, you got to keep guys safe. But to me, football is it's a violent sport. It's football. It's a contact full throttle. There you go.
It's a full throttle sport, and you best have your big boy panties on. But then I get it too that the injuries are. This goes back several years. I mean, we're going back throughout the league in reverse. I mean, think of all the just the junior sale instances that haven't been brought up.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a ton of them.
Well, what about your guy, your all-time Steelers offensive lineman, Mike Webster? We talked about that in our Steelers episode. That's available in our archives on Podbean for all our listeners out there. The top 10 Steelers of all time, one of our top 5 most downloaded episodes ever. That was a cheap plug there, but Mike Webster, what he went through, he died broke and alone, and basically with Alzheimer's, dementia, and a lot of head trauma.
And 4 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, back then there wasn't as many rules implemented. I mean, you watch some old school football; it's pretty crazy. The stuff that that went on then that don't go on now.
We could make a full-length episode out of that. That's on our episode list of things we could potentially cover one day. Is football and CTE.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be a good show, I think.
Well, let's unless you got anything else, let's move on a little bit.
Let's move on.
I got a little bit of release news from the NFL just because I liked watching this guy play. It's nothing major, but the 49ers released defensive end Dee Ford this week, who's he had played in just 18 games for the 49ers. They took him in a trade with Kansas City in March of 2019. So in 3 seasons, he's played 18 games. Now, when this trade went down, the 49ers gave up a second-round draft pick to the Chiefs, and they signed him to a 5-year, $85 million contract. And his production, even though he's only played 18 games, he ends his 49ers career with 9.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 22 tackles. It's not the kind of stats that are reserved for $85 million a year.
Right.
Or $85 million over 5 years.
I still say you got to perform to get paid, man.
And I liked watching. Ford play. He's a Pro Bowler.
Right.
He's played in the postseason. He was Pro Bowl 2018, but I just thought I'd put that in there.
Okay, right on.
You're gonna get a crack up out of this, and you're gonna say no, but I'm gonna pull rank.
All right.
What's the one thing we never talk about on this show?
Politics.
No. Besides that, sports wise, what's the one sport we never talk about? Soccer.
If there's some soccer news,
there is one small paragraph of soccer news because
boy.
I
all right, I got to bear down.
We always crack up about that. I always say soccer's not a real sport. That's the one thing we never talk about. But
it's running for no scoring.
90 minutes, 0-0.
What a game. Yep.
But I'm putting this in here because it's one of the top 5 soccer players over the last decade, and one of the biggest stars in the world, and that's Neymar. However you want to say it. I always say Neymar. Some people say Neymar. So he's playing for Barcelona. Well, there's some major hoodoo doo-doo going down here.
Uh-oh.
So Neymar, Barcelona, and Santos are set to go to trial on October 17th on fraud and corruption charges over the transfer of Neymar to Barcelona in 2013. The Brazilian investment group Diaz said in a statement on Wednesday that they were going to be going to court on this. Neymar's father, mother, and the family company NNN have been charged in the case, along with former Santos manager and then president and vice presidents of the Barcelona Football Club, respectively. The case stems from a complaint which owed part of Neymar's transfer rights and alleges that it received less money than it was entitled to when the trade went down in 2013. So here we are. You're bringing stuff to court that went down 10 years ago?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But investigations are being carried out right now by Spain and Brazil into whether any part of the transfer fee had been concealed and hidden. Neymar, of course, like most athletes, whether he's guilty or innocent, has done the throw up the hands. I had no knowledge of this. It doesn't matter what sport it is. Any athlete, whether they did have knowledge, they did, and they throw up the hands. I didn't do. I don't know. Talk to the people that managed me. Talk to the people that handle like. But I had to put this in, just because. I mean, we never talk soccer, but this was just anything about fraud and going to trial is good stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
somehow I still don't like soccer.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
So, I texted Adam Sweet today.
Oh yeah.
And let me look at my phone here.
Busy man.
Yeah. So I told him he was texting me earlier when I was doing research, just formatting tonight's mini episode. And I said, we're podcasting the Tonight at 8, going to be talking some LIV Golf. And he said all about that money. And then he said, do you want to hear a crazy stat about LIV money? Now, I haven't fact-checked this, but Adam keeps his stuff pretty tight. So I imagine if it's not completely true, it's pretty close to true.
Right.
And Adam, before I get into what's going on with LIV Golf, this is what Adam said. Tiger's career PGA earnings, nothing with his sponsorships or side hustle, just money he's made with the career, equates about to $120 million. Well, when Mickelson signed a contract with LIV Golf for 8 tournaments this year and 10 next year, that's $200 million for 2 years. Dustin Johnson signed for like $125 million. So those two guys, DJ and Phil Mickelson, are set to make more money in 2 years than Tiger ever did his whole time on tour.
Wow.
There's some of that Saudi blood money, baby.
Yeah, I hear that.
So the news with LIV Golf, what I want to get into here is they're expanding their series to 14 tournaments on the 2023 schedule next year, with 48 players competing on 12 established team franchises for an unprecedented $405 million in purses from the LIV Golf League.
Wow.
400. Do I have the cash register still? No. I don't have the cash register. I've got the yeah, there is an option on the sound pad, but I put the sad trombone in because you love the sad trombone.
I do like that, yeah.
LIV Golf debuted with 8 tournaments in the Invitational Series this year. Said there'd be an increase of $150 million in purses for next year. The players are competing for $255 million over the 8 events this year. The dates and sites of the 14 events for next year were not announced, but the organization said in a news release today that, quote, is expected to expand LIV Golf's global footprint across North and Latin Americas, Asia, Australia, the Middle East, and Europe. They made sure to announce that the events in 2023 wouldn't conflict with the 4 majors, international team events, or heritage tournaments. So the best players in the game will always be able to make their own choices about where they play.
Well, where the money is at?
Let me see here. CEO and Commissioner Greg Norman said in a statement, our franchise model will bring a new energy and excitement to fans from all corners of the world, establishing a league of teams to connect and grow with, end quote. LIV Golf has been lured by several former major champions to its new circuit, which is being funded by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, with guaranteed contracts reportedly worth between $100 and $200 million. Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, Sergio Garcia, Brooks Koepka, and Patrick Reed have all signed multi-year deals. PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan suspended more than 24 players for competing in LIV Golf events without conflicting event releases, and had a handful of players, including Sergio Garcia and Reed, have then since promptly resigned from the PGA Tour.
Ooh.
Now, why this is fun is just because to throw a little Donald Trump in here at you. They'll hold its second event in the United States this week at Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster in New Jersey. So,
That's interesting. Well, they're going to go follow the money. Be my guess.
Could this potentially? Think about this.
PGA, yeah.
In golf, it's the PGA and that's it.
Right.
They've had a monopoly on professional golf.
Yes.
Could this potentially steal some thunder, or has it already, from the PGA Tour?
I think it already has. With the names you just mentioned there.
And those are some big names.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody knows who Phil Mickelson
is. And they're doing this so smart, too, with that Saudi-backed blood money, baby. I love saying blood money. That Saudi-backed blood money, because they're not conflicting with the 4 majors. So you guys can go play in this other league, and then we'll just come out and play in 4 majors for the PGA. And can you imagine if that happens and one of these guys that's signed to play for LIV Golf now comes in and wins the major? Can you imagine how pissed the PGA Tour would be?
Well, yeah. Well, they're already mad. They're already angry, upset.
That would be like DEFCON level 5 shit.
Yeah. That'd be go poking the nest again.
Okay. Got a little baseball news.
All right.
For starters, the trade deadline goes down August 2nd, which I think is Tuesday or Wednesday next week. Goes down at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the trade deadline. So this will be an interesting week. We'll definitely have plenty of news to start covering, especially when we get together this weekend and record our World Series episode, which I plan to start on the notes tonight while I'm editing this.
Right.
But got a little bit of baseball. Mike Trout, Los Angeles Angels, is apparently dealing with a rare condition in his back that will likely have to manage throughout the rest of his career, according to his athletic trainer. Trout was placed on the injured list on July 18th with rib cage inflammation, which is creating pain in his back, but the Angels expect the 3-time MVP to return quickly. Mike Frostad, the trainer, told reporters, however, that the Angels are now concerned because Trout has been diagnosed with a costovertebral dysfunction. I don't even know if I pronounced that right. In his T5 vertebrae. Cystovertebral dysfunction. I don't think I said that right. There ain't a whole lot of words I can't pronounce, you know it?
Right. This don't sound good, though, for...
Well, let me tell you a little bit more about it. This is a pretty rare condition that he has in his back right now. The doctor, who is one of the most well-known spine surgeons in the country, if not the world, doesn't see a lot of these. And for it to happen in a baseball player, we just have to take in consideration what he puts himself through when he's hitting, swinging on a daily basis, or just diving for balls. There's so many things can aggravate it, but the doctor hasn't seen a lot of it, said, quote, by the trainer. Trout got a cortisone injection in his back last week, but he has yet to resume activities as of today. He's a 10-time All-Star. He's let everybody know that he's feeling more upbeat, but he's acknowledged that this could be something that he deals with for the rest of his career.
Well, now that brings up, is Mike Trout done? You think he possibly be?
I don't know. He's scheduled for a follow-up appointment with his doctor next week. And Angels athletic trainer Frostad said the Angels have not yet reached a point where they must decide whether to shut him down for the rest of the season or not. Trout is the second highest paid player in the game right now, averaging about $38 million a year, and he has not spoken to reporters since the All-Star game last week. So here's the deal. Do you shut him down, Kurt? Back injury is serious in any sport, but especially baseball.
Well, what about the money side of it then?
I mean, he's still going to get paid. These are guaranteed. Baseball's the worst one of all the contracts of the Big Four. I mean, he's getting paid. I
don't shut him down then.
He's still getting paid, but the team's like, what the, they're paying for a guy that they're not using.
Right.
I mean, and those things happen.
Right. Well, I don't know. It'd be tough there. It don't sound good, though. I mean, far as Trout goes. I mean, this could be the beginning of the end.
Right now, Trout's been enjoying a kind of a comeback season after he had a calf injury last year that he just played 36 games. Right now, he's batting .270 with 24 homers and 51 RBIs in his first 79 games, while providing a bright spot for the team. The Angels have not been that good this year.
Right.
And I knew you were
a franchise player, right? What do? You shut it down?
At this rate, well, I'll tell you what. Let me look at one thing real quick, and I'll tell you what I do. I'm gonna pull up the standings for Major League Baseball right now.
Okay.
And in the American League West, as of right now, the Los Angeles Angels, the Anaheim Angels, are 42-56. They are in fourth place out of 5 teams in the AL West. At this point, you're not probably looking at postseason contention.
Right.
I mean, I doubt it. You know, baseball's the one sport where anything can change.
Right.
But it's sitting at 42-56, and you're at a 429 average. I doubt it. So, in my opinion, even though he might be dealing with this for the rest of his career, I think you shut him down for the year. Let him heal up a little bit. And let him take this entire time to go out and swing. I don't know. See how he's going to accommodate to this.
Yes, that makes sense. Yeah, that would be a good move there.
And while I have the standings up, let's look at some things.
All right.
The worst team in Major League Baseball right now. Let's see who we got here. 38,
Reds.
34... 37. No, the worst team in Major League Baseball right now is in the basement of my division, the NL East, and that is the Washington Nationals, sitting at 34-66.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
And matter of fact, why don't I go ahead? I'll go ahead and read the best and worst team in each division. Okay. Leading the NL East is the New York Mets right now with a 60-37 record. Wow.
Yeah.
The NL Central, for all you Reds, Cubs, and Cardinals fans, the Brewers are sitting on top at 55-44. And the Cincinnati Reds are in the basement of the NL Central at 37-59.
Ouch.
And then sitting on top of the NL West with the second best record in baseball, the Los Angeles Dodgers at 65-32 with a plus 179 differential. The basement of the NL West, the Colorado Rockies at 45-54. The AL East, sitting on top with the best record in all of baseball, is the New York Yankees at 66-32.
Boo.
The bottom of the AL East, the Boston Red Sox, sitting at an even 500, 49-49.
Damn.
The AL Central, the Minnesota Twins set on top at 52-46.
The Twinkies.
The Kansas City Royals are in the basement of the AL Central at 39-59. And then in the AL West, the Oakland Athletics in the bottom at 38-63. And the Houston Astros on top at 64-35. Now, I will say, looking at these stats right here, the AL East is slightly competitive right now. The Toronto Blue Jays are in second place, 54-43. And the Tampa Bay Rays are at 52-45. Now, right now, it looks like the longest winning streak in baseball belongs to the to the Toronto Blue Jays, winners of their last 7. And the longest losing streak in baseball right now stands with The San Francisco Giants, who have lost 7
Really?
games straight.
Ooh. The Dodgers got done sweeping them, I think.
But yeah, so going to all that, I shut Mike Trout down for the year.
That makes sense there, yeah, absolutely. I mean, let him rest, heal it up a little bit, and start fresh. See what happens. That's a lot of money, though.
Yeah. It is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, yeah.
That's a lot of scratch. Hey, you got to buy your Mega Millions ticket. It's up to like $1 billion now or something.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be buying one. I haven't bought the first ever.
Could you imagine what kind of studio we could have if you won $1 billion?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It'd be lavish. I don't know. No, it'd probably still pretty simple, you know?
Yeah.
Effective but simple.
Keep it simple, stupid.
There you go.
Kurt?
Yes?
Pete Rose.
Hall of Famer. Why? Why not?
My beloved Philadelphia Phillies have welcomed Pete Rose back to Citizens Bank Park for the first time since he received a lifetime ban in 1989.
Really?
Rose is scheduled to attend a celebration of the 1980 World Series champions held on August 7th. The Phillies issued a statement regarding Rose participating in the ceremony saying, quote, "In planning the 1980s reunion, we consulted with Pete's team about his inclusion." The statement read, "Everyone wants Pete to be part of the festivities since there would be no trophy in 1980 without Pete Rose. In addition, the club received permission from the commissioner's office to invite Pete as a member of the championship team." End quote. Well, but there's more. Before you go, there's more.
Okay.
It would be more reasonable to invite Pete Rose if the only issue was his lifetime ban for betting on baseball, says this article. I borrowed this from on ESPN. With Major League Baseball and all major sports embracing gambling, that infraction nowadays isn't basically nothing, you know, like
Right.
However, the invitation is getting backlash for a whole nother reason. And that's because a woman came out in federal court in 2017 and said that Pete Rose began a sexual relationship with her when she was 14 years old. Well, that caused the Phillies to cancel plans to induct them into their Wall of Fame in light of the accusations. However, a team spokesman has said that they've invited him to this event because they're celebrating the team rather than Rose's appearance. So,
okay. I mean, that's well put, I guess.
We're going to have to do that 1980s World Series sometime.
Good World Series. Good World Series.
You'd have been about 9?
Yes. Yep.
Tim McGraw's dad, Tug McGraw.
Tug McGraw, yes. Steve Carlton.
Steve Carlton was on that team.
Yes, he was.
Who did they play? That was the it wasn't the Cardinals, was it? No, that's Cardinals are NL.
The Royals.
That's right, Kansas City. Why the fuck did I say Cardinals?
Yeah, it's the Royals.
Yeah, it was Kansas City.
Yep.
Because they made it back again in '85 against the Cardinals. That's why I said Cardinals. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good for Major League Baseball. Good for Pete Rose.
I agree. It's about fucking time.
There you go. Hey.
Yeah. Come on, man. This guy's a hit leader. Wow, it blows my mind.
I got a little bit of Canadian national women's hockey team news.
Okay.
So,
bring it on.
Okay, so there's been some things going on, and I haven't kept my ear to this near as much as I should. That's my job, bad as a podcaster. But there's some stuff going on with some sexual allegations against the men's Canadian hockey teams. Well, the women, they released an open letter to Hockey Canada on Monday, basically talking about how they'll be part of the fight to find the truth in this ongoing investigation. I guess this travels back to news broke back in the spring that a woman was accusing 8 members of Canada's 2018 junior team of sexually assaulting her after this big fundraiser gala ball thing in Ontario, Canada. She was seeking like $3.5 million in damages from Hockey Canada, the Canadian Hockey League, and unnamed players. Details of the settlement were not made public. None of the allegations were proved in court. Well, after the NHL and the NHL Players Association began working on the framework for their own investigation, Hockey Canada announced it was reopening of a third-party investigation into this alleged assault. Police in Ontario, Canada said that they have reopened the investigation into the 2018 assault cases. And Hockey Canada said that Friday it was made aware of more alleged group sexual assault involving members of its 2002 and 2003 national junior teams. So this is an ongoing story. Former NHL players and current NHL players have released statements about both cases, declaring their innocence and offering encouragement as far as the investigation goes. Hockey Canada come out and would release a 6-point action plan on Monday on how to address the toxic behavior that exists in the corners of the game, end quote. Hockey Canada would say, a spokesman for Hockey Canada would say, "We feel it is important to have women sitting at the table as this process evolves, and we urge you to include representatives from our group so that we can be informed and involved," they wrote. End quote. So there you go.
Huh. Dang, it just touches every sport, doesn't it? Seems like.
Here lately, it certainly is, isn't it?
Yeah, keep your thing in your pants, folks.
There we go.
Night.
Words of wisdom from Kurt Kelly. Keep your thing in your pants. I got something Tennessee, because we've been throwing in a little bit of tennis here or there.
Right.
Okay. This one I just put in because it's kind of funny. So, Dutch, you know the Dutch.
Yeah.
Dutch tennis coach Max Winders has been banned from the sport of tennis for 12 years for match fixing, according to the International Tennis Integrity Agency, the ITIA. Boy, isn't that a funny abbreviation? He admitted to multiple match fixing charges, and he also admitted to destroying evidence and failure to report a corrupt approach. One of the charges against him came under the rule that forbids people involved with tennis to directly or indirectly facilitate any player to not use his or her best efforts in any event. So they fined him like $12,000 and banned him, and he is not allowed to attend any tennis tournament authorized by the sport's governing bodies until 2033. I know. Dang.
That's shame on him.
And then I got one other tennis thing real quick, and this is just because this is just absolute cool. And I'm actually going to put this in one of the in the part of the title for tonight's episode, just because.
Okay.
You know, have you heard of super teams in the NBA?
Yeah.
You could possibly have a super team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Or Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Can you have a super team in tennis?
I don't hardly see how.
Oh, dirty Curdy. But
yes,
4 of the biggest names, and arguably I think the biggest names in men's professional tennis, Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, Roger Federer, and Andy Murray.
Yeah.
You say those 4 guys together, even if you don't know shit about tennis, you always hear them in the headlines. Those 4 guys are going to play together for the first time for Team Europe at the Laver Cup in London. Wimbledon champion Djokovic was named as the 4th member of the 6-man Team Europe on Friday, with the 35-year-old Serb joining his longtime rivals at the 5th edition of the ATP-sanctioned event going down September 23rd through 25th. Named after the Australian great Rod Laver, whatever. The 3-day team event pits 6 of Europe's top players against 6 from the rest of the world. It's the only competition where you can play in a team environment with guys that you're normally competing against.
Okay.
So we're literally like, for the first time ever, I think I can use the phrase a super team in tennis.
Wow. Huh. Yep.
So, yeah.
Super.
Yeah. Team World Captain John McEnroe has named Felix Auger something or another, Taylor Fritz, and Diego Schwartzman as team members, as 3 members of his team. They're going to be playing against John McEnroe? Did I read that right? Hang on.
Well, he's got to be old enough to fart dust, doesn't he?
Wow. Hang on. Let me read this here. Nadal, Djokovic, Federer, and Murray have basically dominated men's tennis for the last 2 decades, which is correct, about the last 20 years, winning 66 Grand Slam titles between them. Nadal holds a men's record of 22 Grand Slam titles with Djokovic, who played in the second edition of the blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they're playing against McEnroe.
There ain't no way.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, come on now. Might as well bring Jimmy Connors out there too, golly.
Oh, look at you, throwback referencing. So you're
on Stefan, what is it, Borg?
So
bring him back too.
Bjorn Bjork. His
Borg,
name was in here somewhere. I just seen it in this article. I know I seen it.
Sound like to me a senior citizen event.
London's O2 Arena, which hosted the men's season-ending ATP finals from 2009 to 2020, will stage the cup with Team Europe, captained by Bjorn Borg. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
So,
well, you imagine McEnroe. I mean, remember how he was kind of short-tempered and everything? You imagine him being older now.
He made swinging a tennis racket. He's the only man besides Jim Cornette. Shout out me getting a pro wrestling reference in. He's the only guy besides Jim Cornette that can make smashing a tennis racket look badass.
yeah. You know, we tend to, as humans, get a little grumpy as we get older, you know.
Yeah.
Well, he was grumpy when he was back in the day. I can't imagine now. Holy crap.
I love when we do these little mini episodes during the weeknight. We get on here for an hour and a half, and we find a whole bunch of shit to laugh about, but we cover some serious stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Sure. I got a little bit of San Francisco Giants on San Francisco Giants crime. Got a little squabble in the clubhouse.
Uh-oh.
Not really a squabble. Giants pitcher Carlos Rodon, he came back into the dugout the other night after in the 5th inning. After the 5th inning, and what would eventually become a 7-3 loss to the D-backs, he kicked a bat in the dugout that flew over and hit shortstop Estrada on the knee Tuesday. I seen the clip of it on ESPN. Oh, yeah. I mean, just kicked the bat, and it just slammed into his knee. And the teammates immediately rushed to Estrada's side to check on him. The pitcher would later go on to say that his actions were unacceptable. I hit my teammate, the nicest teammate on the team, just a selfish action. It can't happen again, blah, blah, blah. He wasn't disciplined. However, manager Gabe Kepler immediately went to see if Estrada was okay and then proceeded to chew out Rodon. So he said, quote, we're going to work on ways for him to be in control of his anger.
Yeah, just slash his pocketbook. That'd probably do it.
Okay, I got a little bit of history, a little bit of doom and gloom, and a whole lot of what the fuck.
Okay.
All wrapped up in this next segment. WTF.
All right.
Okay, and I don't even know how to talk this, so I'm gonna read it and talk it.
Okay.
So the German government, which would be located in the country of Germany.
Germany, yes.
The German government let it be known Wednesday that it was willing to pay further compensation to the families of 11 Israeli athletes killed at the 1972 Summer Olympics in Munich by members of a Palestinian group. Family members of the athletes have criticized the proposed amount as, quote, insulting. Relatives of the athletes have long criticized how German authorities handled the attack and its aftermath. Demands for further compensation have threatened to overshadow a planned memorial event for the 50th anniversary of the massacre. Now, for those of you wondering what the fuck we're talking about, some things in sports you just don't ever hear about. This is the first time today I ever heard about the attack in the 72 Olympics. You'd have been a year old.
Yeah, I don't have any.
I mean, even growing up, I never remember hearing about this in history, even growing up. So,
yeah, me neither.
Members of the Palestinian group, the Black September, broke into the Olympic Village and took athletes from Israel's national team hostage on September 5th, 1972. They did this with the goal of forcing the release of prisoners held by Israel, and two left-wing extremists that they had locked up sitting in West Germany jails. Okay. Well, 11 Israelis and a West German police officer died during this attack, including during a botched rescue attempt. Well, then immediately after the attack, Germany made payments to the relatives of the victims to the amount of 4.9 million marks, which is about 2 million euros. In 2002, the surviving relatives received another 3 million. A claim for compensation payments amounting to around 40 million marks has cited massive errors in the police operation, but it got dismissed because of the statute of limitations. A widow of one of the guys in Israel told public broadcasters Tuesday that Germany's current reparations were absolutely disgusting and degrading to the victims' survivors. So, and that's about all I got. I mean, I got a couple other things we got to talk about, but I take it back. I wasn't going to talk about this. Didn't want to talk about it because I didn't want to give her attention. But if I shit all over Kaepernick a few weeks ago,
yeah.
I guess we should talk about some Brittany Griner news because something happened with Griner today.
Okay.
So as you know, since February, she's been sitting on her ass in a jail cell in Russia.
Right.
Right. This woman was also part of the movement, that all athletes or a lot of the athletes took after Kaepernick took the knee. She would take the knee too. Now she's wanting the U.S. to save her. But anyway, she's been sitting in a jail cell since Russia since February because she got popped with THC, which I guess that's a no-no in Russia. I don't know. I didn't think Putin would give a shit about marijuana, but I could be wrong. Maybe marijuana is infecting Putin's cocaine business in Russia. I don't know. Maybe he don't want any competition. Putin's a drug lord. You know he is.
Yes.
But the Biden administration came forward today with a proposal, kind of a trade of some prisoners for Griner and another jailed American. No word yet on if the proposal will be enough for Russia to release the two Americans or what Russia would want in exchange, who they would want released. One of the how would I say? I guess one of the people that it's been rumored that Russia would want released is Bout. I guess I can't find it. I guess it's just his name's Bout. He was a Russian arms dealer. They once called him the Merchant of Death, who was sentenced to 25 years in prison about 10 years ago on charges that he schemed to illegally sell millions of dollars in weapons in the United States. So Griner's locked up. A lot of people have come out talking about Griner, and she is a hell of an athlete. I watched that 2009, 2010, whatever it was. I watched that NCAA championship game between Baylor, who Griner played for, and Notre Dame. That was one of the best basketball games I've ever watched in my life, and it was between two college women's teams.
Really?
Griner's a hell of an athlete. She is. But I don't know.
What year was this?
When they played Notre Dame played Baylor?
Yeah.
Had to be
check it out.
had to be like 2009, 2010, 2011, somewhere in there.
For the championship, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the women's championship that year. Well, you know what? Kurt? Let me just pop in the old Google machine here.
There you go.
It was Skylar Diggins was the standout for the Notre Dame women's team. Baylor versus Notre Dame women's. I'm typing one fingered here. It's hard to do. Hunt and peck.
Hunt and peck. That's my typing. You know.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, come on. Baylor versus Notre Dame women's.
So you're saying it'd be worth me checking it out?
You know, honestly, I still remember that game. That was one of the better basketball games I had ever seen. What the hell year was that? I'm looking here.
I just had an idea for a show, maybe.
What's that?
About the Butler Bulldogs.
The Butler Bull. That, you know what? That
it just came to me. I mean, that was a mid-major or whatever. That I don't even know if you could put them in as mid-major. You know, the parity is really getting a lot of good teams. I just thought that might make a good episode. That was a pretty good run they went on there a couple of years.
Damn it! I cannot.
You can't find it.
No, I'm gonna pull it up this way. I can't remember the year. We're sitting here with dead air. I'm gonna look at. Fuck, Kurt. You got me going. I'm gonna go.
All right.
So let's search for Brittany Griner. Let's see, and I'll just check on her end because I know I can find it that way. I cannot remember the year. What the hell year was that? It was the women's. Okay, NCAA college career. I want to say. Go ahead.
You think it'd pop up right away? You know?
Well, yeah. NCAA champion.
I wouldn't mind checking the game out.
I think it was 2012, so I was off. I said 09, 10, 11. It was actually 12. They beat Notre Dame 80-61.
See, it don't sound like a good game.
Well, it was competitive. I think it was. I think the game, the way I remember it, and I could be wrong. The way I remembered it was closer than what the
final score. Oh, right. Okay.
Which
happens quite a bit.
Skylar Diggins was, of course, you know, Kim Mulkey was coaching the Baylor Bears. Man, that was a hell of a game. I remember it being a better game.
Baylor, where is that?
Waco,
is that Texas.
That's Waco, baby.
It's in Texas.
Okay. That's Waco.
All right. I wasn't sure. And it would be what conference? Is it Big 12?
Yeah, unless they're moving to the SEC. By the way, we have. That's another episode we can do because this conference realignment shit is ridiculous.
I just said they added 2 teams in the West Coast to the Big Ten or something.
Yeah, UCLA and the two biggest college campuses in the country, UCLA and USC. Now you think about this; these are California staples in Los Angeles, Southern California. Tell me, what do they need to be doing playing in the Big Ten Conference?
It don't make no sense geographically.
It don't make no sense literally.
Literally, yes. I don't know. That's kind of odd. Yeah, interesting. Huh?
Yeah, I just don't. This whole realignment, like Texas is part of the SEC now.
It's not even in the Southeast.
Which I don't get.
Geographically don't make sense.
I like the way things were going. You know what's going to happen? this is going to keep going, and more schools are going to just, get more money to go to another conference.
Right.
And this is going to effectively kill some of the smaller conferences.
I have to agree. Yeah. I mean, is that what they're after?
I don't
Kinda
know.
looks that way.
I don't get it. I do not get it. I don't understand. It's money. That's what, at the end of the day, what have we always said?
Yes.
Sports is a business.
Yes.
And it's sad that it's dealing with college athletes, but, I mean, they don't give a shit.
No, they don't. It's bad enough at the top level, but then, it's starting to trickle back the other way in the colleges. I don't know. It can't be good. Money just, for the most part, is no good. You know it?
Well, I mean, you're definitely right.
I mean, it opens so many opportunities for bad stuff.
I just don't like it. Kurt, I just don't.
Well, I'm there with you, bro. I don't like it neither.
So, I got something else I want to talk about. And I've done something with the podcast, and I'm going to put this out here for all of our listeners. And I want to preface this by saying that we don't expect our listeners to do any of this. But I finally got us on a Patreon. You're like, what is a Patreon?
Yeah.
So Patreon is kind of like a, in essence, it's like a, almost like a GoFundMe for content creators. What people do, like people that have podcasts and people that are musical artists and songwriters and YouTube content creators, that basically they get some donations and support from their fan base, and they use that money to continue to put out content. And for the fans that contribute, there's rewards and type things given out. So I did a little research. I've been doing a lot of analytics looking at our website with Podbean, and one of the things I've noticed is we're close enough now where we're it shouldn't be a whole lot longer, hopefully within the next month or two, that Podbean will probably reach out to us and say, hey, you've hit X number of downloads now. Let's talk about monetizing your podcast and getting you a little bit of money, getting us a little bit of money. And so, Patreon's going to, one of the things that was looked at is that, you guys should probably start looking at a Patreon. And I wasn't all about it because I wasn't really sure how to do it. But I started us a Patreon. For those of our listeners, go to patreon.podbean.com/STSB. So, well, it's called a patron. This one's not an actual Patreon. It's Patron. It's Patron. Patron.podbean.com/STB. This is Podbean's form of Patreon. It's just called Patron. So it's just basically crowdfunding. And I have set us up 2 goals that I would like us to match here coming. Oop, wrong button. And I'll explain those here for you guys. Okay. Let's see. Obviously we have no download or no support yet because nobody knows about it. Right. He's like, right. Let me click on the link. So yeah, go to patron.podbean.com/STSB. And basically I've set a goal right now of about $150 for our first goal. And that's basically, I need to edit it. That's basically for our meet and greet coming up with After 2 Beers podcast, which Dutch is they're back from vacation. So I need to be reaching out to him to hopefully set up our collaboration coming up for next month.
I've been thinking about that. I'm kind of excited about that.
And basically that's going to help us cover just which we don't have to, but I was struggling for ideas to put out for this thing, and that'll help us out because we're going to have about a 3 or 4 hour drive, and that's going to take that's going to take some gas. Right. So, we set a goal of about 150 per month, and as soon as we get it, I'll shut that one down. If we don't get it, whatever. But the more important goal we're set up is I set a $300 goal for mic and headphones. And basically what we're going to do is if we get enough listeners, it's like, you know what, we're going to donate to their Patreon here.
Right.
We're going to purchase 2 additional mics and headphones. That way I've got one for Doyle, and then we always have a backup one, or if somebody wants to join in with us. And the rewards for that, I've set a tier price reward campaign. So for somebody that donates us anywhere from $1 to $5, you'll receive a personalized shout out on the show. Like, hey, thanks a lot, Barack Obama, for donating. I said, bro, where the hell did Barack Obama come from? That was thanks, Rex Chapman.
You should if he'd be listening, would you?
Yeah. Now, second tier, if you donate anywhere from $5 to $25, you could potentially have a cold beer with the hosts.
All right.
You could have a 30-minute call in to an episode we are recording on. You could call in for 30 minutes and chat with us.
That'd be cool.
And or we access to a bonus episode or bonus content, which I ain't figured out quite how to do that one yet, but we'll see what happens.
All right.
Tier 3, these are for people that donate anywhere from $30 to $50. Shout outs on social media and over 2 consecutive episodes. Or we will let you pick the topic for the next episode we do.
I like that.
And then our highest tier, tier 4, is called our number 1 fan tier. And this is for anyone that donates $50 or more per month. It's access to extra content. Again, I have to figure out how to do this extra content, what this means, I'm completely new to this whole crowdfunding Patreon thing. So people out there listening, give me some time to figure this out a little bit, because I handle all the business side of it. Kurt's just my research and my film watcher.
Right.
Actually, you don't even type you just watch film and read an article. I'm the one that types all the research.
Yes.
But anyways, for our number 1 fan, which would be a $50 a month donation or more, we'll give you access to extra content. We will do a live ad read at the beginning and again at the end of every episode for your small business, completely free of charge because you've already donated. And then the biggest one, for $50 or more donation a month, you will get to appear on an episode and record in person with us. Me and Kurt will come to your house. We will go wherever, and you will sit at the table with your own mic and headphones and record an episode with us. Cool. Should that be of interest to you? Now, then again, I mean, people jump all over this shit if it was Joe Rogan. With us,
right.
With us, I mean, let's be honest, call a spade a spade. At the end of the day, who the fuck are we? We're nobody, but it's just something to think about. And one of the other things I am planning on launching is a similar crowdfunding thing, but it's a lot smaller scale, and I've got to do some research into it. I've seen a lot of other small-time podcasts doing it, and I'll put more information out across our social media avenues, which is right now only Twitter and Facebook, but it's called Buy Me a Coffee, where essentially it's just a $5 donation, like a Starbucks coffee almost, what you're paying for a Starbucks coffee. So, but yeah.
That sounds interesting. Yeah, cool.
But let me, before you jump off here, let me go back and look at our one other thing on our podcast here. It logged me out, bitches. Again, that's patron.podbean.com/STSB. Podcast dashboard. And because our Podbean hosting site, I think they're based in London, actually. I'm not sure. Wherever it is, it's already Thursday over there. So we're already looking at the Thursday, June 28th stats. So we have no downloads yet for June 28th. But I want to look at our all-time analytics here and be as transparent with everybody as we can. So from July 1st to July 28th, we've had 143 downloads. Our previous best record was 107 in June of 2021. Yesterday alone, we've had 35 downloads. Over the last 30 days, we've had 151 downloads. Over the last week, we've had 117 downloads, which puts our all-time record at 919 downloads.
Right on.
So I'm looking at the analytics. It does not show me. Let's see. It shows 39 downloads this month in the state of Indiana, 3 in Georgia, 2 in Texas, 1 in California, 1 in Massachusetts, and then there's 93 unknowns, which sometimes the analytics just don't pull for whatever reason. Podbean's got a better deal with their tech side of things.
Right.
So I'd be interested to see what states those other 39 pull from.
You know.
We are getting downloads in Russia and Austria as well this month, as well as 2 other world unknown locations. But yeah, you ought to see the roller coaster just for this month. And like I said, it's just all happened. Last week we had 21, then we went to 4, then we went to 5, then we went to 24 on Sunday, 20 on Monday, 5 Tuesday, and then today, Wednesday, come out with 35 freaking downloads.
Really?
And if I look, let's see, the most downloaded episode for the last 30 days, for the last month, has been Waco. In the last 30 days, the Waco episode's been downloaded 18 times. Our Super Bowl episode's been downloaded 10, and one of our weeknight episodes been downloaded 13. But one other thing, I know I keep rambling, but I think you like listening to the stats.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm a stat guy.
Our most downloaded episodes now, the 85 World Series has been passed by 1 episode.
Okay.
So the 85 World Series is our second most downloaded episode now at 40, and episode 12, which we recorded the day after my grandfather passed away, which was our first Steel Toes episodes, and I titled it Death, DMT, Pick'ems, and More. Right. That was when we listened to Joe Rogan talk about DMT.
Yeah.
That's got 41 downloads. So.
Just, yeah, that's pretty interesting. That's cool.
Which basically says to me that I hope and pray that this wasn't just a couple days outlier. I hope that this was somebody turning somebody on, somebody turning somebody on again, somebody turning somebody on again, and it just keeps
trending. Yes.
Trending, yes. And you'll get a kick out of this. One other thing, I want to give a shout out to Not Your Basic Dad on Twitter. He's at Not Your Basic Dad on Twitter. He reached out, and let me pull it up real fast here, Kurt. Let me go to Twitter.
Right on.
Let me switch over to our Twitter page. He sent me a message, and he said, I have a podcast I started with my son called Bullshitting with Padre. He said, I started it to make memories with my son, not to get famous. We just bullshit about whatever. I've listened to your podcast, and I enjoy the sports and also the Waco. I support local Indiana peeps. Good luck in the future podcast. Keep having fun, and sure bet.
Yeah.
He said, and sure bet. So, guys, go follow Not Your Basic Dad on Twitter. Go check out Bullshitting with Padre. I told him we'd give him a shout out in this episode.
Right, absolutely.
So, you like that, huh?
Yes, I do like that. Cool.
So, we did get some feedback about our Super Bowl episode, by the way, which, man, we're tidying up a whole bunch of shit here. A buddy of mine started listening to the podcast, and he said something about it. He said, I just listened to your latest episode. He said, pretty good. He said, your intro was kind of crackly. I said, yeah, I had the phone a little too close to the mic when I recorded the instrumental beat. But, you know, just adjust your volume. When, you know, if this podcast takes off and you guys keep sharing it and we get a little monetization, maybe we'll have a professional intro done instead of one half-assed back curtain one like we have now. But... But yeah, that's I think that about wraps it up, Puss. Just be sure you guys to check out After Two Beers podcast. Kurt, can I talk to you about something real quick?
Yeah.
So
Go for it.
you know what content we're gonna cover when we record with the After Two Beers crew, right?
Right.
Baseball cards and stuff, right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay. So unless something changes, and Dutch, I know you're listening, or well, you will be when you hear this. Nobody's listening to us right now, but unless something changes, we're gonna go up there, and we're gonna meet with them, and we're gonna record with them, and we're gonna talk about sports cards and trading cards and baseball and stuff.
Right.
And then I'm gonna set up my equipment, and they're gonna record an episode with us, and they have XLR mics like we do, so I don't have to worry about stuff. If I don't have the equipment bought already, they can just plug in their headphones and their mics, so we're good. And then we'll record a shoot on our end, like just whatever. Like I'll go up there at no prep work because who knows what we're going to talk about.
Right.
But since this is going on, I went digging for some of my old cards.
Yeah.
And if you remember, I said I only found half of them.
Right.
Then a couple days passed, and then I sent you a picture of a box with like 600 of them. I'm like, hey, found some.
Yep.
So this got me thinking about some stuff. And I've been looking at baseball cards and baseball memorabilia and signed baseballs. And didn't you think it was a little funny how yesterday morning when you woke up to go to work at 5 a.m. and I was still awake because I had been awake all day?
Yeah.
That you got a text from me asking who's your all-time favorite hitter, who's your all-time favorite player, who's your all-time favorite pitcher.
Yeah. I wonder where it's going with that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't tell you, but it's going somewhere.
Okay. Right on.
Down the line, it's going somewhere. But
Okay.
I went today and I had to get out of the office for a while. I went to the Trade Bakers vendor mall there in town, and I just started looking through old baseball cards.
Yeah.
And I've got to go meet a guy, a good friend of mine, this weekend, Saturday before I come to your house Saturday night. Take a look at some baseball cards and basketball cards and all kinds of cards. And so I'm thinking I might have just rediscovered the obsession that we all had as kids. We all collected baseball cards and basketball cards.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm thinking about it, and I'm looking right now. The card market's kind of hot.
Really?
Yeah, it could potentially, there could be some investing there. So then I decided, I downloaded an app on my phone called Sports Card Investor, where I started looking through some of the cards. And, essentially what we used to do back in the day when we'd go to the newsstand, buy a card magazine, and it'd have the listing of cards going back 20, 30 years, how much it had everything new and everything old. It's essentially the same thing. I started looking through, and I moved my damn binder off the table. But I got some old Larry Bird cards, some old Michael Cooper cards. I got some shit worth some money sitting in there.
So that's where the Cooper and the...
yeah, that's where the... Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
What did I ask you? Michael Cooper or...
Dang it.
I got my phone right here, puss. Hang on. I said Michael Cooper or Doc Rivers, and you said Michael Cooper, and I said, yep.
Yep. Yeah.
So, did you know that Monday night I did an episode without you? So I did an episode without you Monday night just to talk about some. It was kind of an episode just like this. I talked a little bit of wrestling and talked some other stuff.
Right.
So I'll tell you this real quick before we go. Do you know what the highest selling baseball on eBay is going for right now? Throw a number at me.
$2 million.
Close. $1 million baseball signed by Josh Gibson.
Really?
You know who Josh Gibson is?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
They called him the Black Babe Ruth back in the day.
Okay, yes.
He died He died a few months before Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier.
Okay.
Satchel Paige said he was the greatest, most fearsome hitter he's ever seen.
Okay, yes.
There's not much memorabilia for Gibson out there, so there is an old baseball that's faded and tattered, and it's been it's certificate of authenticity. It's been verified. It's selling for $1 million on eBay, the highest selling baseball right now.
Wow. Damn. That's a lot of scratch.
I found a baseball that I thought about sending. I thought there was two of them. I was like, I ought to get these for Kurt. One of them was an autographed Pete Rose ball from some sort of get-together festival thing a couple years ago where he said, "I'm sorry I bet on baseball." It's what he signed on the ball.
Pete ain't got to be sorry for that.
And then, we'll double back to that. And then the other thing was, it was Kirk Gibson's, one of the home run, a signed ball, and it said, "I bleed Dodger blue." And I can't think of the phrase "I bleed Dodger blue" without thinking of you, and now I'm wondering if that's where you got it from.
I got it from Tommy Lasorda.
Tommy Lasorda said that, "I bleed Dodger blue."
Yes. I don't know where it was at or went, but I do remember him saying it. And that's kind of where I got it from.
Wow.
Yep. Tommy Lasorda.
All right, man. Well, Pete Rose, going back to what you said real quick, Pete Rose ain't got to be sorry.
He ain't got to be sorry for Jack, I mean, come on.
It's Charlie Hustle.
Yeah, it is Charlie Hustle. He's a great two-strike hitter. No doubt about it.
Sure bet. Dude, I just love that. I just love Not Your Basic Dad when he ended his message with, "Oh, yeah, and sure bet."
Sure bet.
Shout out Adam Sweet, because without him, we would never have sure bet. Sure bet.
Right. Yep.
All right, brother. Well, I will bid you a farewell. I will start editing this, and then I'm looking forward to Saturday night. Want to talk a little 1990 World Series?
Oh, I'm amped up about it.
Did you watch the video I sent you?
No, I'll get to it.
It is. I love those old school MLB films where it does the World Series recap.
Yeah.
That was a damn good. Man, Rijos was just.
Lights out.
Did you know Rijos? Did you know this? The story about Rijos' father-in-law?
Mm-mm.
He was like the scout or the pitching coach for Oakland.
Really?
So when they're there for game one, he's sitting there like his son-in-law is pitching against his team.
Weird.
Yeah. But okay. Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to it too. Yeah. World Series recaps seem to be our bread and butter, and I mean, I'm always down to talk baseball.
Oh yeah, me too.
But all right, homie. Well, try to stay cool this week. I will see you Saturday night.
Right on, brother.
All right, see you, bro.
Peace out.
All right, Kurt is clear. So we hope you guys enjoyed another weeknight mini episode here. This is really starting to get more mileage out of the podcast. I honestly think us making this change in format really changed things for us over the last couple months as far as downloads go. More content's coming out. It's never a bad thing. But anyways, this is where I bid you guys a farewell. For Kurt Kelly, I'm Jared Atkins. Hope you guys enjoyed this Weeknight Chronicles episode of Steel Toes and Scoreboards, and we will see you guys next week.